Hi, I'm Jim Nuzzo, and I'm here this morning to briefly describe to you the dinghies that we have here at the Isles Yacht Club. They're Precision 15s, a two-person boat, and let's take a walk over here to our rig boat, and we're going to talk a little bit about the equipment that's on these boats. As I mentioned, these are Precision 15s. We have 4 of them at the Isles Yacht Club. It's a basic main and jib boat with a tiller rudder. We have a tiller extension on the rudder. That's this right here. Your main sheet. And yes, they're centerboard boats. This is the jib halyard, the main halyard, the Cunningham, and the boom vane. These are your 2 jib sheets, and these are the leads to adjust the trim on your jib. Now this is a fully rigged boat, all set to push off and sail. Next we're going to go into rigging this boat and in detail go through installation of each one of these parts prior to going out. Let me introduce my crew today, better known as my mate, my wife Carol Nuzzo. The first thing we're going to do before we get into the actual rigging of the boat is to remove the cover. We've unsnapped the cover from around the headstay. Now we'll untie it from around the mast and unzip it around the stay here. There's another clip here. And obviously when taking the cover off on the 2 outboard boats, got to watch how close you are to the edge. There's no snaps on these covers that are attached to the boat itself. Some shock cord pulls them around the stern. We'll undo that, fold them up, and put them up on the dock. And then we'll be prepared to go to the dock boxes, grab the sails and the life jackets. We'll place the cover from the boat that we're rigging today right here. We'll open up our dock box, and inside is stored our sails and our life jackets. And if there's 2 of us going out today, we'll grab 2 life jackets, and yes, it is mandatory that when you're using the club's boats, you do wear a life jacket. Inflatables are approved also, the waist style or the harness style. Now inside here is going to be our jib and our main. I've placed the sail bag on top of the foredeck here, and we're going to pull out the main and the jib. Thanks, Carol. Obviously the bigger sail is going to be the main. We're just going to leave the jib here. I'm going to place the main inside the boat while I go back and rig the rudder. Before I rig the rudder, which is stored normally on the thwart here, I'm going to remove the boom crutch, and we're going to place that up on the dock right by the boat cover. Thanks, Carol. Now I'm going to pick up the rudder here. Watch so the rudder doesn't come down and pinch your finger here. I'll line the gudgeons and pinnles up. Slide it in. Tricky process some days. Once it slides on, take a fast pin and hook it in the back here. While I'm here, I'm going to ensure that the boat plug is in. Just a simple counterclockwise twist, or putting it in, a clockwise twist will secure it. Next, we're going to hank on the mainsail. And if you'll notice, the red halyard on the port side is the jib halyard, the green halyard on the starboard side is the main halyard. It's been rolled since the last time we were out, so I'm going to unroll it. I'll find the clue end, start feeding it in here, then eventually get to the tack, secure the tack, and raise the sail via the halyard. Okay, Carol, if you would, just pay that out for me. If you notice, you slide this track in, the boom track, this car into the boom track, and the bolt rope into the slide on the boom. If your crew can help you, slide that through. That's always helpful. Okay. Pull it forward a little bit. Thank you. Uncleat the main sheet. And the boom bang, Carol, if you would also. This is the outhaul. We take the outhaul lines, slide it through this small block, and then it secures to a cleat over here on the starboard side of the boom. I'll next secure the tack with this fast pin, and I'll find the headboard, which is right here. There's a groove I'll start the headboard in, and then secure the main halyard to the headboard. This is a twist and lock type shackle here. Okay, now that it's locked in place, I'll ask Carol to please hoist the main. I'll make sure it feeds in correctly here in the slot. Once all the way up, be sure that your boom bang is loose and also your main sheet to get your main halyard and your main sail all the way up. As you can see, the boom was holding it up. We'll get some slack there. And the main is hoisted. We'll cleat it off here. Go ahead. And once cleated off, we'll coil it and just trap it between the halyard and the mast. Finally, we'll take the downhaul, or the Cunningham, and put a little tension on that. Okay, we're now ready to rip the jib on the Precision. We'll unfold it a little bit. We're seeking the tack, which is right here. Again, it has one of the twist and lock type shackles to secure to the stem width here. Okay, now that that's secured, we have small brass hanks that we open up and put on the headstay. Make sure your hanks are all in the same direction, and then make sure that the luff on the jib is not fouled. Once we get all the hanks on, we'll hook up the halyard, hoist it, pass the two jib sheets through the jib leads, and tie figure 8 knots in the end of the jib sheet so they don't come out while we're sailing. Okay, here's the last hank. And again, we get back to one of these twist lock type shackles. Slide that in. And twist it closed. Okay, Carol, I'll hoist away from this side. Depending on the wind for the day, we just put with light air like we have today, we'll just put a minor or a small amount of tension on the halyard. Again, once secured on the cleat, we'll coil it up and we'll just lay it and trap it right inside the halyard and the mast itself. We finish off by taking the jib sheet, passing it through the car and the cam cleat, and tying a figure 8 on the end of it. While I'm here, I'm going to check one more piece of safety equipment, we'll call it, and that's our oars. We do carry 2 oars with us, and they're stored up in the bow area here. I see the 2 oars, and we're all set there. We're now rigged and we're ready to sail. Well, to launch, we've got to ensure that our bow tie down is let go. We also have 2 at the stern, 1 on each quarter that we'll untie before we go. The boat is held up to this dock post by this winch. We'll keep that on while we slide it aft, and then we'll pay out a lot of line so when we come back in, we have plenty of slack in this that we can hook back up to the D-ring up on the stem so we can crank her back in and on for our sail. Once launched, the first thing we want to ensure that we do is lower the centerboard, which is this line right here. That'll give us stability. If we launch without the centerboard down, the boat will be quite tipsy. We now return from our sail. It's time to store the boat like we found it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to hook up the winch strap to the D-ring on the stem and crank it in. We'll crank it in until it's almost up against the windshield. Alright, that's good. Next thing we're going to do is take down the sails, de-rig the boat, and fold them correctly. Let's take a look at that now. Now we're going to fold correctly the jib. You'll see the creases, and we'll follow that crease pattern. We'll take a fold about the same width on each one of our folds. Once done, you can now roll the sail, put the sheets inside the roll, and prepare to put them back inside the bag where we found them, eventually to be stored in the dock boxes. Mainsail's a little bit bigger, a little different to fold. What's important is the first two folds. I've already got the first two folds in, but I'm going to show you how I got them. Open this up if you would, Carol. And open this up. Our first fold will be determined by the battens. And as you can see, the batten comes into here, and that's where we want our first fold to come to. All right, Carol, let's fold that over. The second fold will just follow the inside edge of the first fold. Once that's done, in order to keep away from a lot of creases, we're going to roll the sail. For small sails, one person can handle them, obviously. Once these are both rolled, we'll put them both in the same bag, because the sails are numbered, which do coordinate with the boat's numbers. The Dinghy Sailing Club here at Isles Yacht Club meets the first Wednesday of every month in the Compass Room. Our racing schedule is a bi-weekly schedule during season. During our summer months, we generally don't have any scheduled races, but members can take out the dinghies at any time they'd like by simply having on file the waiver that's signed, a waiver signed, and also to check out the boats with the dockmaster. Let them know you're taking the boat out for the day. We do have a wind restriction on the boats at 15 knots. We don't sail our dinghies. More information is available at the Isles Yacht Club website regarding the Dinghy Sailing Club and the dinghies, and that's IslesYC.com. Check out under the marine section the Dinghy Sailing Club. The racing rules, sailing instruction, and much information, and some pictures are available there. See you on the water.